Mambo, peace family. This is Olokun. I won't take up too much of your time. I'm just gonna hop right into it. Right now, we are working on a project, Baba's Liberian Kitchen. I'm gonna share the screen now. Um, so we're working to put this business plan together to demonstrate to you how to create a business plan, but also to get our business ideas out of there. Uh, Even when we don't have clients coming in, we're all continuing to develop our craft, playing around with the platform, learning sales, working on marketing, doing all this stuff entrepreneurs need to do, but also building our skills. Um, so we're just gonna go here. One thing that we did see from the first video, if you haven't viewed the last video, please go back, use the link at the end. I will put it down here, but view it. This was the location we selected for the Liberian Kitchen. Baba's Liberian Kitchen is a business idea of West African cuisine, focusing on Nebraska, Lincoln, and Omaha. LoopNet is a website we use. We reference this website for our clients to have them use it to find locations for possible businesses going shopping. As you know, we're students of Amos Wilson and heavily inspired by his book, Blueprint for Black Power. The next video, I'll actually share a reference some of the book as when we talk about ways of raising capital or raising funds for businesses outside of the normal, you go down to the bank. Those of us who are unaware of the experience Black African people have when going in business and wanting to request loans and funding, you should know that redlining exists, economic genocide exists, meaning denying you resources for you to build your economy so you're able to, feed, clothe, take care of yourselves. That does exist here. We're in America. It's a game of economics. It's more about keeping the resources that are available in your group. Your group being not just only people who look like you, but people who have the same political, social, and cultural identity. Social cultural identity could be seen as like you see yourself as American, you understand. I don't even want to get too much into that. You just see yourself as an American, so you behave as an American. America is more than just a country. It's a country that has, well, it's a country. It has its own, um, you know, foreign policy, domestic policies. This is the way that the country, operates and organizes itself with its resources to carry out its objectives. And so those of you who see ourselves as American, I don't even want to get into all that. I'll probably edit all that out later. Let's start again. Hey, what's up, family? We'll just jump right into it. We're continuing the Baba's Liberian Kitchen. We can just go back to this, go back to the company. Right on. So again, this video is a continuation of our last video. If you have not seen it, please go back and check it out. This is a business idea we're working towards. And one of our strategies with business planning is using unconventional methods to raise funds. Outside of going to a traditional lending institution, how else can you get paid? We'll drop that video next. A lot of coming from the work of our insights coming from the work of Amos Wilson and his Blueprint for Black Power, chapter 29 of the book. We could just go into this, and then always, every time I pop into these, I try to spell check it, make sure you dot the I's, cross the T's, you look for punctuation errors. I seen one right there. Anyways, Baba's Liberian Kitchen is a concept for West African Liberian cuisine, introducing Black people and Americans to the story of Liberia, and remembering ourselves that it is also our legacy, it is our culture, It's something we should have pride in as Black Americans. Again, Liberia is a country that was founded by Black people in the diaspora. Uh, well, I like to say ancestral diaspora. We'll go into that later. But Black people found here in the West, in Americas, the United States, South American countries, Brazil, the islands, the Caribbean islands. Like there were groups of us who left and built a country with indigenous on the African continent in West Africa. We built a nation, and up until 1980s, it was one of Africa's leading economies. Um, I think at one point the Liberian dollar was point for point for the American dollar. Um, However, some Cold War stuff happened and divide and conquer tactics and a lot of other things. As you notice with many different African countries who have more than one ethnic group, there were very distinct divided conquer tactics that were implemented that drove the countries into a civil war. This is all after we declared ourselves independent and free from the colonists or the colonizers. So it's really interesting. And as you'll see with Liberia, the more research you do, it's like, a lot of people harp on Blacks in America for specifically when we have desires of going back home and building. They try to point to Liberia and single us out as if other countries don't have their civil wars. It's a little bit like, even the Civil War, a lot of they call it the Liberians or Liberians who were seen as like the American stock and then the indigenous. Um, One thing you will see, even though because my son's grandmother's Liberia, straight from Liberia, his mom. So like we talk about this sometimes because she's older generation, and some things we see that there is a disconnect, especially with the information that's being decimated. It has been um, like yes, there were those who call themselves the Amerigo Liberians, and um, they were the dominant ethnic group. However, when you look at that ethnic group, most people could like after the first generation Blacks from America, we left here, went there, we all mixed, we all like so it was like even if you go back and look at all the leaders, which I encourage people to do your due diligence and do the research, you would find that many of them only had maybe one grandparent who would be considered, American born. And then, after that, they were thoroughly mixed. If you only have one grandparent, you get with an indigenous woman, you have a kid, then that kid gets an indigenous woman and they have a kid, then it goes to you. Um, you're indigenous. It was a mix. I don't even like saying indigenous. It's just Black African, the ethnic group stuff. Anyways, I guess I can spend time on this because this is why we're creating the space. Uh, One of the office spaces we looked at, the spaces we looked at was here. We find out that these are actually office spaces, not restaurants. So we're back in the loop net. We're looking for a space for this business idea, business concept. Recently seen that the space we were looking at in Lincoln is still available. It's not on LoopNet, however, it is still available. So, yeah, we got to do some calling tomorrow. These are Lincoln places, but let's look in Omaha. Why Omaha as opposed to Lincoln? It's a heavier concentration of Black people. Um, a lot of us American born who would like to learn more about our African culture, it could benefit from the story of Liberia. I think it's really beneficial to know that, we had a whole nation while there were those of us here going through Jim Crow and all that negative stuff in the South, in the North too, Jim and Jane Crow, I'll say that. But as we were going through a lot of negative things here, there was a whole nation that we had. Again, it was one of Africa's strongest economies until Cold War stuff happened. We could talk about that later. So I'm in Omaha. I clicked on restaurant space, being specifically restaurant. We're gonna look for a restaurant. And you know me, I ain't gonna say a bougie because those of us who have some type of background in political science and understanding of economics. Ooh, was that the entire food hall? But we see bourgeois as being short for bougie, or bougie as being short for bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie were the exploiter class. You know, they own what they call the means of production, meaning because they had the businesses or they had factories or they had the houses that they could exploit you, exploiting and get as much money from you as possible, either through you laboring in their businesses. And when the profits come in from the productive work of your labor, they get to keep the lion's share of that instead of uh, redistributing that wealth equitably among the people who built that wealth. No, so we don't like saying we're exploiters. That looks cool. It's a little food hall. Mm. This is an escarpment. We do like the escarpment area in Omaha. Is this the entire food court? Ooh. No, I think this is just a little shop here. Put a pin in that one. That could be for another business. Mm, IHOP used to be. It's because I like the numbers. 47%. Okay. We got some bones. 5,000 square feet. $17 square foot. Let's look at it. This is part of the research. Like I want you guys to see the nitty gritty. Like this is like business planning is business planning in every sense. And you know, a lot of people, you know, you could write it on a napkin and you could take notes in a notebook or do whatever. We just use Live Plan. Platform allows us to, ooh, if you wanted to buy the whole building, 1.5, baby. It's just a really cool interactive site that allows you to have a lot of your planning done in one place. You can invite members of your team, key members, management, and um, people who would be stakeholders or in the business, people who the need to know. What's next? Now, I guess let me look at the location because my only concern, especially with places in Omaha, yes, we got to learn how to, you know, get money from them people, but this is something that we are designing for our own people as well, Black African people. So we want to make sure that the area is, you know, somewhere where a lot of Black people will be at. We'll come back to that. Actually, I know most of our people are concentrated in North Omaha, and we're not opposed to looking at spaces in North Omaha. Um, you know, when we go out to chill, this is a place called Grown Folks. That's usually my go-to spot. Grab a drink, meet people, talk. Um, I don't like that. However, it's not a lot of development down there. We ain't got the type of funds to just build up a whole building. The Scarlet is cool. Could I do a building a Scarven Village? Probably. I would love to have a location in the Scarven Village. There's a couple. Let's look at this one. Well, one of the main reasons is Afro Omaha is a huge African cultural event that goes on outside of Escarver Village. There's a park right over there. Um, Black people are there. Obviously, students are over there. A lot of black students. I'm over there. You know, my office isn't too far. Like my office is my Omaha office. We're still, I don't know, we're still at Modus, but there's another company, Regis Global, and just the ability, like what it offers is like over 9,000 locations. And so look, we got clients all over, especially in Atlanta. And when I go to Atlanta, I don't like just taking people to Starbucks. Like so let's meet. You even got an office. I'm not feeling none of these. West Dodge. Ain't no black people out there. Maybe one or two. um, I don't know about an Omaha location. Let's see what this is. 72nd and Jones. Not feeling that one. Guess out of all these, 72nd Street. What was the other one? Was this? That's the IHOP. It's 400 square feet. That's just a food court. I'd be able to get up to 7,600 square feet. It looks like I can break it off just a little booth at a time. This was the idea, to be honest. I just gotta take a look at the brochure just to see exactly what we're working with. And I'll give them a call. Did I download this already? a lot available for this. Yes, there's some here available. On-site venue management, dishwashing, equipment maintenance, janitorial, utilities, trash. See, this would be nice as long as how much influence do we have to get people who look like us hired to be doing some of this, you know? Ooh, this would be an option. It looks like this might be the location. Hmm. Take a we'll definitely take a look at it. Give them a call. It says only up to 400 square feet. Unless this is saying the entire food, no, just turn it on. I don't know. This is confusing just because they don't show what's actually available inside of the restaurant. Like when I look at the like, I want to see like what's actually inside of this thing. Let me just go back to Lincoln. See if anything's changed. Nothing in Lincoln either. Everything we do here, we actually plan to take it to Atlanta. ATLAN. You seen that coming? It's just abundance of places. Mm, kitchen. They're specific. See, with Atlanta, I'd have to do a little bit more research into which areas. There's black people everywhere. It's black restaurant. Like, I mean, the level of black entrepreneurship out there and entrepreneurialism among black people is wild. There's a lot of cool, creative places. Um, More often than not, you'll find a lot of black places. So Atlanta, that would be a little search. Hmm. So I guess we really didn't want to get what we wanted. We need a new dishwasher. I got a homeboy that does vent hoods. It'd be cool to put him to work. Definitely need an interior designer, decorator. Uh, I mean, out of everything that we've seen so far, or what's available, this has potential. And then part of the concept we were also looking at was a buffet. So that's everything else. That's like I have not been to a buffet that specifically with African cuisine. Actually, I'm gonna put this in here. West African cuisine, and we have such amazing food, especially Liberian cassava leaf, lai soup, tobagi. Sorry, the mouth water. And then also just traditional West African meals. Liberia is literally West Africa. So we eat West African meals. I'm just gonna put this in here. A lot of this, if we look at a lot of this stuff, like there's definitely a location in Lincoln that I really want. Ideally, that's just what I want. And that gets me going more than this location here. Where can I find it? Competition, execution, sales plan, location of facilities. So the location in Lincoln actually just it gets my beak wet. It makes me want to dive in and go for it. That's what I'm saying. See if I can even pull it up. What is it? What is it? And those of you who know, don't take it from me. Give me the time. This is weird. Like you go down, you'll go and you'll see the available sign still out there. However, online doesn't show the space that's open. And when I call these people, I leave a message. They don't ever pick up from me. Like in this, they're specifically not even showing the place that's like here. Here's gate 25. This location here. None of this here anymore. It used to be a BurgerFi. Yeah, y'all know. I like that location, but inside, they don't show the inside. So inside here, there's a location here too. It's a lot bigger dining area, you know, here. Leave it here. This is a bar, gravity. This is stuff is cool too. I love the rooftop feel. However, the inside is really small. I have a lot of cool ideas, concepts that I was thinking of, but the inside is just really small. The rooftop, if it was, but this space right here, that's what I want. And it's still available. So you'll just have to make time to call. Keep calling back. I might even have to just pay somebody. Here's a $10. You make this phone call for me. Because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my name, the business's name, but they don't reach out. They don't reach back. They don't. That's what I said. Maybe it's my name, they hear Olokun or Abibisol. Like, what is that? Just what are those words? But I've seen some time has passed and these places are still available. I don't want to comment. That would be the Lincoln. Because I definitely would like to have two locations, one in Omaha, one in Lincoln. The Omaha one too. It's one that I would probably have as the buffet. Mm. All right, so let's go to this. When I set the details, this part of the business planning is your execution. Like you have your marketing plan, your marketing strategy, and then you have to outline specific action steps that you're going to take to accomplish this. So in the event that you don't have time to do it, whoever you're working with can read this and clearly see what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. So details. This one, the IHOP space. Amber or Josh. So that's next. This brainstorming. This what comes with our consultations. A lot of it is planning and doing some brainstorming, coming up with creative ways and outlining specific steps you need to take to progress your business idea. Get this ball moving. You know, a lot of our clients are working with us in the idea stage. Uh, we're about getting your ideas on the paper. Again, we build businesses around your ideas. So our time together, so you understand how it's spent, is actually planning this thing out, getting the ball moving, executing on our plans. We're here to hold you accountable. So other than calling the locations, what else needs to be done? Um, Again, we'll share some of this stuff in the next video. Um, we might even try to edit it, mash it in here, but there are very specific steps and options we can use to gain the monies for this. So let's just do that. What should I call this? Create financial plan. And then chapter 29, like it's a book that I've been studying for a while, Blueprint for Black Power by Amos Wilson, specifically talks about non-traditional ways of financing a business. And it had a lot of different insights that we can pull from to get the funds to get this thing going. And that's going to take a little bit of research because in part, it could look at, even the business structure, having a cooperative as opposed to a traditional business. Financing the business through different means of crowdfunding, community funding, private placements, putting together a investment pitch deck. We also have to create the pitch deck for this, just so we could, go out and get the money for this. At the end of the day, from my experience, for myself personally, and the experience for my group, as we seek to start businesses, it's harder for us to get funding, for a lot of stuff. Redlining and things exist. It just is what it is. But even so, we still have to find ways to make money and be independent. Self-determination is big. Find out how to survive, feed, clothe, shelter, and all that ourselves for our own benefit. Move this to 13. That would allow us to answer some of the questions in here. And then in the meantime, we're building this thing from the ground up. We got to find a way to market this early. One of our ideas for a lot of businesses who are restaurants, because at the end of the day, business planning is a tool. Just because you plan doesn't mean you're going to get paid. This is a tool. Now, when you have your plans together, you still need to execute, meaning you still have to make money. So we have to ask ourselves, what do we have to offer now that brings value that we can exchange for money? Value begets money every time. The more value you have, the more money you'll have. So you have to provide that value. Outside of just creating the plan, what else can we do? With restaurants, I start early. You have access to a kitchen. All right, let's find access to a kitchen. Let's start cooking. Let's get the food out there. Let's test the market. Let's make sure that this is something that people are going to want to buy, gain support for it, grow this thing, start small and scale. As we create this business, we scale, grow into a restaurant space. And as long as we are able to acquire the funds, we expect a boom, rapid scale, rapid growth, and we're prepared for that. So let's go back. New milestone. Research, licensing. Restaurants. I know the spelling is off. I'll fix it later. I'm on a time limit, so I'm just trying to get this out here and get on with my next project. But yeah, use ChatGPT. You'll find that it's a really good, useful tool. Like you could just type in like what is needed to start a restaurant in Nebraska, and it'll generate for you a whole list of stuff. And then from there, you just follow the steps. Usually, as you go to the different state websites. So you could do it a couple ways. Some people get a food truck. You could get a food. But I get it. Um, our big push is going to be events, planning events, making sure we have our serve safe licensing and property license to sell and handle food, and host events, attend events, cook, bring the food, look up kitchens.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. And as we go, we're gonna have a whole bunch of different milestones for this. This is just to get us started. Some of the things that we advise other businesses to do. There was one specifically, Caribbean Delights. Uh, yeah, it, that's been their marketing strategy so far as they show up to different events, pop-ups, uh, business networking. They cook, bring the food, sell right away, but they're also planning on growth. They're doing the necessary work to actually make sure they have something of value, gauge the target audience, gauge like, y'all really vibe with this or whatnot, getting all of that documented, but also coming with the surveys. Uh, no matter who's going to be financing this thing, they want to know that you're already selling. Two, there's interest in this. People actually like the food. They're just not going to give you money for a restaurant, and people won't come. You have your and there's a potential to grow, like the market, like people are going to keep coming. How do you kind of gauge this and figure it out? You can look back as long as you're documenting this, especially sales. Look at what you're doing now with what you have. Um, if it's doing well enough over a long enough period of time, it's bringing you money over a long enough period of time. Uh, you see the growth that would encourage investors and to actually sit down and listen to you. You're already making money. You're asking them for money to grow what you're doing so you can make more money and then give them their return on investment from what you produce. Having surveys is also a huge part of this. It will allow you to see upfront what people think of your product, of your food, of your service. Work out those kinks. Uh, Taking the time while you have time to here, let me just go here. I like seeing myself. Let's go back to Zoom. Stop it. Stop share. For taking the time while you have time to actually do the important part of planning, putting your systems of processing down, getting that down, your systems of processes, getting quotes from decorators, interior decorators, meeting with contractors, figuring out how much it's going to cost, trying to get a better feel of how much you're going to need to get a full build out for the restaurant. You'll see specifically for scaling how much you will need to have for supplies, food, getting your vendors and food vendors and all of that. Like it's work. It's a lot of work. It, the series, we're going to just stick with this business. We do have quite a rather few businesses that we're helping build these creative financial structures for, but we're going to be specifically sticking with this one now. This is a business I want to have running and on the ground in some shape or form before the end of the year. That's my goal. So it's big. It would be nice to get started by or have at least our first event plan where we have the community test our food by Liberian Independence Day, July 26th. So, and for that, I guess I didn't put it in there, but I'm talking, so the plan is to host a cook-off Liberian food. We're going to start with a staple dish in Liberia. It's cassava leaf. And have a cook-off. Whoever cooks the best gets some type of cash reward. We're thinking somewhere between 1,000 to 5,000. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We're gonna have some type of reward, and for that, we also have to raise funds too. Uh, and with that, just raising the awareness, introducing the idea to the community, um, and finding who's a good cook, who's ever going to be our executive chef and sous chef, who's ever going to fill those roles, they're going to be part owners and they're going to be the ones actually running the restaurant. A big concept of what we push with the Abibisol is having a business that can operate independent of you. I have a lot of other business ideas and I want to birth these things in the world. However, I don't have the time as I'm building this business. I have I have to still build and scale this to the point where it can operate without me. Right now, it's just not there yet. It became necessary for me because to prove my strategies, and it's tough. I'm a business services. I see that's one of the objections that I'm constantly meet. I guess not necessarily met with, but I challenge myself on. Um, like, what businesses have you put in place that can operate independently of them? Where's the proof of your theory? We take on a lot of the clients for consulting, hundreds of people, but what businesses have we put in place that can operate independent of us? And so this is my proof to myself and my proof to the world that these theories work, the practical, it can be done. Liberia independence, it's the 26th, and we're going to have this thing started on the ground then. So right now, we're focusing on just having the funds initially for the cook-off. So that's the next thing we're going to put in here. I'll add that to the milestones. Schedule the time, schedule the event, get the space, and get the information out to the community. Create a flyer. All of this needs to be put in our milestones. How much time have we got? How long have we been going on here? I'll give myself 10 minutes. So we'll put that in the milestones. Oh, let me go back to share screen. My apologies, guys. Hmm. Create flyer for cook-off. And again, yes, this is generic. I know they say measure twice, cut once. I have time to actually go back and dot my I's and cross my T's. Like right now, I'm just trying to get these ideas out of my head and on paper, to be honest. Mm. Start those fundraising efforts. Well, fundraising can be seen as partnering, saving, whatever it takes just to get that extra $1,000. How are we going to get that $1,000 there? Like that's going to be an initial investment in this thing, $1,000 for that, and then reserving the space. Even when we're reserving a space, there's free options, especially in summertime. You can find free or cheap options. And we want to make sure we have the space reserved. July 26th is Friday, cook off. We want a month. We want to have at least a month of marketing. Like there's a lot we can do as well, such as registering the business. Well, all of that we can add later. The big part is, we're hustlers. You believe in generating revenue you need off of sale. You got to prove you can sell this stuff. So we'll start with that. Because as long as we got that cook off where it's going to generate buzz, the Liberian community, we have a organization, the Liberian Association of Nebraska, or Lincoln, Nebraska, Lincoln chapter. I still organize with the group. However, since we will be doing a separate Independence Day event, we'd be competing with them. Now, with this group in particular, it's more of Liberia to identify with the indigenous Liberian. Technically, every Black American and Black born in this part of the diaspora, the Caribbean, South America, Central America, North America, Canada, like all of us, Liberia was also built for us. A lot of us do not know this story. So a lot of our engagement and marketing would be towards that population of people. We would also be working at marketing to the West African communities, since there's an abundance of us in Omaha. And most Blacks I got brought here during the Ma'afa or through the enslavement process were from West Africa. So, yeah. But anyway, since the event would be the same day, gotta reach out to James. Maybe we can. He's the the leader or president, acting president of the Liberian Association here in Lincoln. Maybe we can work together. Reach out to all the other African organizations. And maybe they could even be some of the ones who put up the money for the grand prize. So we'll see. We got a lot. Like this is just a start. This is just what we want to knock out for this month, really. But at the end of the day, we need a spot reserved. We need to make sure there's an industrial kitchen space. Whoever is going to get the grand prize, we're immediately wanting to work out some type of partnership. How can we get you employed? Can we have funds for this? You're the person who we want operating the business as the executive chef and other functions in the business. So helping build out the menu, that's going to be the person. This is a person I already have in mind. I will reach out to her. She makes really good Liberian food. But and then for the event, getting it going, reaching out to the different African organizations, especially the Liberian organization, to see if we can partner on this. But yeah, get going with the marketing for the cook-off, because that's going to be the beginning. And as we do that with the marketing for the cook-off, uh, just generating that buzz in the community. That's where we keep going with the back room work and actually planning this thing out and moving on to our next objectives. So we're going to end it tonight. Uh, thank you for your time and viewing this. This is how we're improving our work. We're showing you this is what we do. We have to prove our theories. I didn't go to school for business. That's one of the objectives that I see myself. I challenge myself on. You know, I haven't built and sold a business. I didn't go to school for business. And I don't have an extensive list of businesses that can operate independent of the owners yet. We have people who are still working with us at doing the consultation and advising sessions to get to that point. But it's a process. And so we definitely thank you guys for your patience, for your time, for working with us, and us being part of your journey and you being part of ours. However, it's, I've said it in a post before. I'll end with that I have more support if I sold plates, t-shirts, or did some type of beauty service, barber, beautician, all that. Those are the type of businesses that we expect Black people to have, and those are the type of Black businesses that we support Black people with. Business services, financial services, even businesses that are essential to maintaining an economy. Like when you start talking about that type of stuff, like Black people, Black men specifically aren't listened to or shut out. Can't get no funding, can't get no support. My job, I know my job is to shatter those myths that we aren't business people. Like you look at our history, we look at our great civilizations, Mali, Kemet, Egypt, you can argue that because who's been there for the last 1,000 years? It's a country, a nation that was conquered and colonized by many other peoples. I start from the root, go to the beginning. And if you look at Egyptology, like the earliest date that they'll give for Egyptian civilization, which, some of our research or the research of, some of our research shows us that it's a lot older than what's given by, conservatively, we'll say 3250 BC. And the start of Egypt, which we knew as Kemet, it was a leader named Namer or Menes or Manak. Manak was his African name. Then he also had another name, Namer, because you had Upper Egypt, which was in the south, the Black African, Sudan, those areas where it's undeniably Black. Then you had Lower Egypt, which is actually in the north, where the invaders came and started pushing inward. So when he became ruler of Upper and Lower Egypt, he had two names, Namer and then Manak. In the south, now he is the first pharaoh, first ruler of Egypt, and they call his rulership of that time, 3250, the reunify to what? And what you would find, you do your research, is that he's actually the 10th pharaoh or 10th king in line from it's a king of Kush. Now, Kush predates Egypt. There was a monarchy. It was for a very long time thought the oldest monarchy was Egypt, but they found there was a line of rulers in the Kush, the Kushite Empire, Nubia. He was the 10th leader in that line, the 10th king in the pre-dynastic is what they call prehistoric. But he was the 10th leader in that line, that dynasty. He was the 10th leader. And from there, you see the reunification is when they recapture those lands, and he becomes the first leader of Egypt or emperor of Egypt or pharaoh, whatever you call it. So I just, and I say all of that to tie that into business. It's like with these things, when you have high level of construction, administration and organization, government, like, yes, we put a lot of emphasis on the gods and goddesses and all of that. I get it. However, we're talking about people. For this level of skill, masonry, architecture, mathematics, laborers, builders, people had to go through some type of education system to learn these things. People had to be paid. Uh, you can only pay people to do work. A country, if there's surplus, that means that they have to find a way to have accounting, proper accounting, as they trade resources with other nations to build that national wealth, to have the wealth, uh, to build large monuments, temples, paying people, running universities that teach people all of this. So when we look at African history, especially in our empires and kingdoms, we can't be so caught in the awe of the stories of the gods and these great grand ideas of spirituality, but look at the actual administration and the economic system that that country had to perfect to make sure these things ran smoothly. We were the original businessmen. Like, we are the first people. So I remind myself of those stories through history, which is why, there's a lot we learned in our time with Liberia. No, I'm wrapping it up. But I say all of that to say that we need to shatter these myths, especially Black men. Black men need to shatter these myths that we are deficient in business, that we can't, like, for a very long time, we've only been valued off of our labor, not off of our mind. So I get that. I understand it. I understand it. We have to learn to take our ideas of war, warriorship, warriorhood, and translate that into business. One of the things that the Chinese were able to do very well, and the Japanese were able to do very well, they took a lot of their warrior concepts and looked at business as the new way of engaging in war. So I'll end it at that. Thank you for your time. We are a little over. The next video we'll be posting, we'll go a little bit of the research for the different and very cool ways of financing a business outside of going through a traditional bank, how to set up some of those proposals and financing strategies. Also, just updates, see how we've been moving and pushing this business idea forward. Again, this is Olokun, your trusted advisor with Abibisol. Peace. Kwaheri.